to put infrastructure for this particular sub-county headquarter. So I want to appreciate, at least you are helping.
Anything to add, Waziri? For correction, it's supposed to be
I will
NPR.
take up the recommendations.
NPR.
Most of the recommendations, so we'll take it up with the member so that we see how to push the security agenda forward. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, we have got Waziri. We're supposed to be addressing the question of the Kenya-Ethiopian border, which is, sorry? Oh, you want to add on? Okay, we have the member for Loima, and try to be considerate of time. I'm really getting worried.
Thank you, Chair. Waziri, my name is Protos Akuja, Member of Parliament for Loima. And I want to take this opportunity to make a correction where you are mentioning Member of Parliament for Kacheliba constituency having a meeting with his counterpart. It is actually me. We have had 2 meetings in that particular corridor, and we are doing well. Chair, Turkana County has issues, serious security issues. And these serious security issues are contributed by the security team in that particular county. These guys, like what Member of Parliament for Taita Taveta said, the security apparatus in that county is not working. And I've been looking for you so that I can give you intelligence of what is happening there. The security is totally dead. They are not working. We have had several meetings with my counterpart and some elders, and we have told them to do a follow-up meetings to ensure that what we agree is being enforced, but they are never doing it. They have never done even 1 meeting, because we have an intra conflict between people of my constituency and people from his constituency. And I think, remember, we discussed about that. You even facilitated us 1 meeting. That follow-up up to today has never happened. So there's something to be done in Turkana County, right from the SEC to the county commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair. I wished to also do a supplementary because our issues are very similar, and I felt that you should tackle all of them. So CS, first of all, congratulations for being appointed the CS for the 2nd time in 1 month. And it's because of the confidence that the President had in you. We also, as in you, we also have some confidence, not 100% of course, but you're doing your best and keep on doing the right work. And of course, the future is bright. I would wish to add some few similar questions to Baringo, to Turkana County, since you know that the Kerio Valley, we are part of the Kerio Valley, we are part of the for the counties in the Kerio Valley. First of all, let me appreciate the operationalization of Kerio Valley sub-county. At least now we have the police, we have all the relevant security personnel, and they're actually doing a good job. However, CS, as you well know, that we are bordering Tiati along that area, yet we feel that they also needed a sub-county, and you've heard it being said so many times by the leaders of Elgeyo Marakwet Baringo, so that we can cushion Elgeyo Marakwet from the attacks from Tiati, since if you leave the other side bare, and we know the sub-county headquarters from that place is very far. So it means that the whole burden is left to the sub-county and the security personnel in the side of Elgeyo Marakwet to deal with it. So if you can also give them a sub-county, it will be a plus, and it will actually help to reduce the attacks from the Tiati. They will prevent the bandits from crossing this side, and in case the bandits from this other side cross to the other side, there will be security personnel to counter. Number 2, you have had a weakness. It might be a weakness, but a strength maybe you think of not engaging elected leaders. And many a times we always watch you on television that you have visited Elgeyo Marakwet, you were there and we were not there. I wish to request you that we also have some knowledge. we also have some influence, and we also have expectations. Our people expect us to see that we are talking about it and we are engaging with you. Kindly, if there is a leader who wronged you so that you might not want to engage them often, I'm different. At least engage me and other leaders of like-minded. But nonetheless, it might have been your strength, but at some point, it can also be a weakness. Once in a while, we will not need you every week. If you do it once in 3 months, we will appreciate. Another question is, we have police stations in Elgeyo Marakwet. There's a particular police station called Chemista Police Station. This police station has been, there is a structure for that police station, but it is not gazetted, and there are no police officers posted there. I understand a while ago there used to be 2 AP officers, but they since left, and the police station is within a school compound. Last Saturday, there was an attack at 6 a.m. in the morning, and a local was killed there, and 3 weeks before that, there was another attack. CS, this is a police station that it is within a school compound. Those children in Chemista Primary School have themselves and God in heaven to protect them. I tried talking to the Commandant Limo, and he's doing a superb job, he's trying. But I realized also maybe he has a strain of the number of officers maybe that he can actually share. I am pleading with you, and I'm requesting that kindly, CS, if you can find around 5 officers, because that is a very expansive area, and you know it is along the escarpment, it is in the Hanging Valley, and it is actually a very good entry for bandits to Embolot Ward. I am kindly requesting if you can consider gazettemen of that police station, or in the meantime, kindly post policemen to do the cushioning in that area. Number 3, there is also, when that particular person is called Stephen was shot, people collected a lot of cartridges. I would like to know how far is the investigation of that particular one. And in Elgeyo Marakwet, since January, we have lost 26 people. And none of them has been investigated. If they are doing the investigation, it is within, they have not shared with that, and no one knows, including the family members, that something or anything is happening. So kindly, CS, please, what are you doing about it? We need to see investigations. At least if the cartridges are there, they can be established so that we can know the source of the ammunition that the bandits are using. Last, additional NPR, CS. Actually, the NPR are doing a good job. In fact, that particular area, the reason as to why, of maybe in the recent past, a few weeks ago, there has been numerous attacks, is because our NPR are undergoing training somewhere, and the area has been left bare. NPR has proved to be positive, and there is a good progress since we were given additional NPR. If you can still add us NPR, I'm not talking about Elgeyo Marakwet alone, but also my neighbors, maybe West Pokot and Tiaty, if they can get a beef up of NPR, that will be okay, and we will appreciate an additional NPR, the CS. So thank you so much. If there is something that you can respond to it, I'll be more glad. Thank you.
So I can really also watch, I'm watching on the clock. So maybe
thank you very much.
At 1 minute.
Chairman, I think with your indulgence, the last question on Marsabit, a lot has been done by the ministry already. And last week, we, the leaders of Marsabit, were able to, all of us, including the governor and the senator, we sat with the minister. And a lot of work has been done on the ground. So for that reason, because of time, we can reschedule that. Maybe we handle the question of Honorable Kainan. But before I leave the mic, I want to say the following between Turkana and West Pokot. I was privileged to lead the committee that went to West Pokot and to Turkana. And I think Waziri, what is really disconcerting is when you go to Turkana and West Pokot, it's as if you are between two countries, that other side, this other side. And I think during your tenure as the Minister for Interior, that notion must disappear. This is Kenya and these are Kenyans. The idea of this imaginary boundary, as if these are two neighboring states, must really be done away with. How should that happen? One, there must be intensification of coordination between the Ngao from both sides, the Turkana, so that they do regular meetings to make sure that these issues of raids and counter raids actually must be eliminated. The second issue is this issue of expansion by arms, where one community is able to expand into the area of the other. And what I have seen is that the Ngao officers, they generally know the administrative boundary, but they intentionally refuse to pronounce themselves to that, which I believe is a serious omission. And they must say that this location you have gazetted is in another area, so that you don't do it. Because when you are in the office, when you approach you, I think you do a lot of things in good faith, that you trust the leaders who are sitting here. Finally, there was something about identified criminals. Criminals are identified by name, where they are involved in this raid, that raid, but they are not being actually caught and brought before the law. It is just names with the CID, the police, and all that. And to an extent, these are things which have allowed impunity to reign large. And that is why I think we must deal with some of those issues, so that the members or the communities do not feel that we have been left to our own devices. Let us arm to protect ourselves. The issue of NPR, I think going forward, while it is doing good for now, it is not solution to Kenya's security as a sovereign state that is able to protect its internal borders. It simply means we must invest in the police services. Thank you, Chair.
Members, kindly, I had earlier told you that the Waziri will be attending another meeting, which is already like 40 minutes late. I will kindly ask you, kindly.
Chair, I just wanted to...
Because we had already, like I know the member, kindly.
Mine, Chair, was just to commend, but also you sent me to West Pokot on Saturday, and we were expecting Waziri there. And people are very mad. They said he has not been to West Pokot since he entered the docket. I don't know whether the second time, but Waziri, it's just a request that despite the events of June and July, which indeed seem to have, I don't know whether that's the reason you've slowed down your pace. Waziri, keep up.
So kindly, Waziri, I'm really feeling guilty of the other member. They actually even writing me a lot of text messages.
If
so
you
just
protect
respond in a minute.
me, I'm okay, because your sister committee, the Committee on Defense, has been waiting for me, and
maybe something what they said, but then we address the last thing. If we are in agreement, we can defer the issue of Kenya-Ethiopian border.
Actually, we had a very healthy discussion.
Yes.
I have told them where we are.
Yeah.
I was even a bit uncomfortable for us to air it out, but the member can brief the other members because of certain sensitivities. But we are making very good progress.
member being not there and being a member actually from the same area and in confidence is really shared what the ground that has been covered, we can leave that one. If need be, we reschedule. So just comment on what they said. And lastly, now, you know, we had the big issue of the missing MCA for, which word is that? Dela. I know you did give a response. I read in the House.
Yeah, before he does it, can I respond very quickly in 2 minutes? All the other issues that have been raised by member for Loima and the member for Elgeyo Marakwet and my brother, the member for Teso North. The one on Marsabit, if we reschedule, I will request we do it in camera. The other one on the issues raised by the member for Loima, I think I need to engage you a little more. And I'm sorry for confusing me with your brother from Turkana South. Thank you for what you're doing. We'll continue supporting that initiative by the leadership. I will have an engagement with you. We see what adjustments we can make on the deployments of our officers there so that we tighten up the space. With regard to the member from Elgeyo Marakwet, she raised quite a number of issues. We have operationalized Kerio Central, Kerio Valley sub-county, which now is helping. Koloa is next, or Tiati Central. Actually, at 1 p.m., I'm meeting the member for Tiati in the office, just to finalize a number of things. So we are on process, and we want to be fair, and because it's about the country, it's not one side against another. And that brings me to the other issue raised by the vice chair of this committee. Some of the challenges we face from communities and leaders as security people is this territorial notion about, you know, like there's an extreme territorial independence notion which actually works against the long-term national interests of having a united, indivisible country. Unless we moderate our, of course, community interests with national interests, we are going to make it impossible for the people of Kenya to move, work, live, and interact with the rest of people. And that's a discussion this committee and us as the policy makers needs to engage in before it runs us out of town. When I travel to northern Kenya, I find many communities. I find Somalis, I find Wakamba people, I find Kikuyus, and they are working, they are doing their things, and there are no many issues. But when we amplify and look as if those people don't need to be there, and that's not where they're supposed to be, then we are endangering the long-term interests of the nation. That's something we can have a discussion on in a more long-term manner. And that underpins some of the struggles we are having in the banditry-prone areas. And administrative boundaries need to be clear, I agree, for purposes of administration and services, but not to say this is the county for this community versus the county for this community. That's dangerous for the country. And so I agree that when I took over the ministry in phase 1, the situation in northern Kenya, Boni Forest, was extremely volatile, and I made very many trips without involving local leaders, deliberately. First, it was very emotive. It was also very risky, some of the places I was going, and therefore it was not feasible. Okay, it was not feasible. But I think right now we're in a good place. The operation is still on, but then the intensity, the volatility is less. I would be more than happy to have leaders together with us so that they own the process and help us expedite some of the interventions we are making. By that time, it was not possible completely. And also, when you have serious security issues, political leaders tend sometimes to support some of their people because some of the criminals also have votes. But I know responsible leaders will always say, vote or no vote, community and country first. And therefore, we will be involving leaders going forward a little more, maybe not in all cases, because some visits are operational in nature. They do not even, sometimes I've been in your county and I will not have a public engagement with members of the public at all. I'll visit the teams in the front line, have a discussion with them around operations and leave. But I hear you. Then on the question of that police station, please, Mheshimiwa, please write what you want done to me. It will be done. We will do what you want done. On the question of how far we are on the investigations, I was not anticipating this. Maybe I can find out, and as we engage, I can update you on this particular matter, because it was not part of the statements I'd been asked to respond on today. On more NPRs, I agree, and I also agree with the Vice Chair that the long term is to make sure the police, not the reservists, the police secure the nation. But at the moment, as a short-term measure, the NPRs, because of the advantages which were identified, are doing a good job. We are constrained. We cannot give all the requests. I know Marsabit has a request, Wajir has a request, Tana River has a request, but we'll try and make sure that we continue enhancing the capacity of NPRs. Then that's on NPRs, and then there was the issue of, from again the Vice Chair of the committee on criminals who are known, not action not being taken. Actually, we've made a lot of progress. Example is Elgeyo Marakwet. We had 7 bandit commanders who were responsible for mayhem in Elgeyo Marakwet. And right now we are looking for only 2. The others are in court. The others fell as they tried to shoot at our officers. So we've made a lot of progress. It's only that security communication is sensitive. And I can, if I sit with the leaders, I'll tell you, we had on our radar 7 major organizers of banditry. We are now looking for 3. 4 are either in court with cases ongoing. Others, when they were engaging the police officers, they were neutralized. I agree there is more to be done. Completely. There is more to be done, because unless you destroy the network of the enablers of sophisticated crime, you will be doing something and repeating yourself and over again. Finally, the member for Teso North, who did not declare interest, that he was also my student sometime. It's good to declare so that so that you are not accused of bias. I've been to West Pokot 3 times, but not after my reappointment, before. I can say this without fear of contradiction. I have visited all the 47 counties of the Republic of Kenya, some multiple times, some 7, 11, 14, 20. The highest is Lamu, where I have been 21 times in 21 months, mainly in operational visits and covert visits, very few public. So I have been to West Pokot. I have provided NPRs for West Pokot County, a good number. They were trained, deployed, just as I have done for Elgeyo Marakwet and other counties. And maybe the leaders were saying after my reappointment, they wanted me to come. Last week, I was told I was expected somewhere. I was not invited. I didn't get the invitation. I was just told I was being expected somewhere in West Pokot. I didn't get the letter. And it is true, dealing with the aftermath of the attempted overthrow of the Constitution of Kenya by criminals and dangerous people who almost burnt the Parliament of Kenya. We have a job to do, and we are not going to relent. I know there are people who want to politicize that exercise. We will be extremely firm and neutral. And I am informed by DCI that high-level prosecutions will ensue any time from now, of including political leaders who financed, and we have evidence they financed people to loot shops, to kill Kenyans, expose them to danger, and we cannot countenance the kind of mayhem we saw in July and June, for whatever reason. And that's why I've said this job is a bit, it's a very unpopular job. We will do it. So we are going to prosecute high-level people who assisted criminals to harm other people, to destroy infrastructure, and they even made an attempt to actually bring down such a serious institution like the Parliament of the People of Kenya. I submit.
Thank you so much, CS. And lastly, Waziri, I had mentioned to you that we discussed and we had a supplementary question, which of course you did reply, and I read the reply in Parliament. But taking into consideration the public interest in it, the missing of an MCA in Wajir County. So I don't know what different.
Honorable Chair, I have not gotten that request for statement. I'm just hearing it today. The first time I heard about it is through you, Chair, when you told me the member for Eldas would request an answer, a response on that. I want to plead with the committee to give me time prepare a statement. I'm aware of the matter, but I need an updated, verifiable statement. I am aware of what happened, and I'm aware that some progress is being made to make sure there is accountability. But I am afraid, Chair, I will not have a quality statement because I was not prepared before this meeting began. I submit.
Maybe I will give Kenan to respond, Waziri. But I think I was honest to say that you did reply the first statement, which actually the members were not satisfied. They asked me through the speaker to look for updated, as you put it, which I did talk to your officers yesterday. But I don't deny the fact that maybe the notice was too short for you to. But maybe, I don't know whether the MP for Eldas will comment on that.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Waziri. Waziri, we all understand that security is very dynamic, very complex, and highly sensitive. That notwithstanding, this is the 16th day an elected leader is missing. We all understand, Waziri, Kenya is a member, a responsible member of the international community. And over the years, we have prided ourselves as a security hub, as a conferencing hub, as a lead in everything. But we are forgetting that in this era, we have social media as one of the emerging arms of government. And this is the reality. We have lived with the three traditional arms. The first arm, you may not agree because you are a member of the executive, is parliament, the legislature. The executive and the judiciary. Right now, we have the social media effect, we have the NGO community, and many other emerging arms of government. What I really don't understand is notwithstanding the definitional issue. In my mind, as a leader who has been around, don't know whether I have your attention, sorry. In my mind, as a leader who has been around, who's familiar with the modus operandi, the level had even modus vivendi of our security agencies, which you had. You are the civilian face of the Homeland Security. When such a high profile, me I'm persuaded is abduction, and it can have two faces. When we have put all these efforts to project Kenya, to promote Kenya, locally, regionally, internationally, and even our forces are there in Haiti. Why is Haiti there in that state? Because of the effects of Goonism and gangsters and everything else that the administration then failed to act on. Is it what is happening in Kenya right now? A step towards that direction. Because a leader has been abducted, a leader is missing, to use the police word. A leader cannot be accounted for, yet to date, other than the mere OP acknowledgement in Makadara police station, we are yet to see a high-level response from the security agencies. That compounds the challenge in this era, Waziri, of constitutional accountability, adherence to the rule of law, and accountability. You have used the word constitutional accountability. By now, we expected that every day we'll be getting progress report. I do not want to downplay the comment that you have made, that you're making some progress and therefore you'll issue a comprehensive test, because we also understand that sometimes some of these things require a lot of delicate handling. But what compounds, Waziri, put yourself in the shoes of the voters of that elected representative, the family, the relatives, his representative who is talking to you. No statement, nothing, business as usual, nothing is happening. So Waziri, I want to give you lead questions, which you also understand. On 6 August, this particular state officer, leader, was summoned by the County Security Committee Wajir. For whatever reason, I learned this recently. And they have every right to interact with everybody. The same person, on 10th September, the entire Homeland Security heads were also in Wajir. On 11th September, the gentleman traveled to Nairobi. On 13th, he went missing. He was abducted. The venue, the location, it's as a result of our collective efforts that we have CCTVs everywhere. This honorable member called for the service of an Uber driver. He has made a statement, he has made an affirmation on, under, oath, which I also tabled through the chairman before the House. So Waziri, and I know you are a lawyer, an astute lawyer, criminal responsibility is individual. I do not want to delve into that. But equally, we must also be accountable to the due process of law. That due process of law is what we are questioning. I want to plead with you. And I will say this without fear, without favor, without any contradiction, without an iota of doubt. And you know I'm an old, seasoned, experienced legislator and I've been around. If this particular leader has committed any crime, he's supposed to be before a court of law, not in detention, not in the name of abduction. What you have done, the achievements that you have made over the last 2 years as the substantive CS internal security, for those of us who have been around, is commendable. But some of these silly actions, you can call them rowdy officers, overzealous officers, you can call them of lack of accountability, whatever name that you call them, completely destroys that that big image that you have been trying to build. And I am also alive to the sensitivity and the challenge that sometimes you go through. So I want to plead with you as we wait for that comprehensive response. If it was in other jurisdictions, you know it. By now, an elected missing, some people will have taken responsibility, personal responsibility. It has two aspects. Assume even in the worst case scenario, which is not in this case, that he has been abducted by criminal elements. Do you want to say that Kenya is a banana republic? Why are these criminal elements who have been abducting people, and so many people have been released, why are they not being taken into court? Waziri, you understand this. Me and you have gone to the same university. You understand this. That is not one of the tenets that we have been taught. It is not. It's completely outside that. Can this, you know, by now I think you are familiar with our culture. I have the entire community in Nairobi. So you can also imagine the burden, the entire community, because their leader is missing. I have to recharge my telephones every second, every minute, because of the calls. I have nothing to say. In fact, the assumption is, because I'm an experienced legislator and I've been around, I can talk to all of you and say, yes, I've talked to all of you. Everybody's in denial. What message will I say? So I want to plead with you. Whoever is holding this guy, and they know where they are, and please, wherever you are, you know yourselves. Release this MCL.
That's okay. We should work it
Allow
out.
me, Chairman, this.
Yeah, but
Release this MCL. If you have evidence enough that can warrant him, just like we have alluded, because all of us are accountable to the rule of law. That's what separates us. Take him to court. Thank you, Waziri.
Okay, kindly members, I want to guide us this. I think the CS had actually asked that we give time to give more updated and comprehensive response, latest. I appreciate the reasons and the ground why, of course, you need to say something, but maybe just to reinforce or the plea and what the Mheshimiwa Kenani is saying, I will give the two members briefly just to say something to the CS.
Thank you,
I
Chair.
understand.
Yes, and it's only fair that you give us a few minutes, Chair, and I appreciate that. Waziri, today, honestly, I'm not in the mood. Not just because I want it, because an MCA, an elected leader from my county, has been missing for the past 15 days. Today being 16th day. You mentioned you are not aware of the case. There's a communication from your office that we got through the chair on 24th that indeed the matter is under investigation. It's now 2 days since we got that investigation. And as a professor of law, the whole time you've been educating us on law, on how to safeguard the Constitution. From where I sit, I feel like we are applying the law, or we are implementing the Constitution selectively. When an elected leader is missing for the 16th day, don't you think he has all the rights to live? Don't you think as an elected member of parliament, he needs to be, he needs to be implementing and, doing the work he was elected for? That is something as a lawyer I want to understand. Two, Bwana Waziri, you said you don't want us to do abductions. Without an iota of doubt, I want to categorically say the government of Kenya is abducting the citizens of this country. Why I say that?
Mheshimiwa, kindly, you can only say that if you can substantiate that.
I'm going there, Chair.
Kindly, you know the procedures.
Okay.
So withdraw that one, and you are very smart in this letter.
As I withdraw, Chair, let me just finish the statement. I say that because this honorable member, Mr. Waziri, got a summon from the security agencies. 2 days later, he's abducted. Any person who thinks will add, the tabulations that indeed it's the security agencies. if indeed it's not the security agencies, Mr. Waziri, how hard is it for the security agencies to come and say we don't have this gentleman, Mr. Waziri? My other question is, if an elected member of parliament can be abducted, how safe are we as the citizens? Personally, because of the things I've been doing and going through the meetings in search of the honorable member, I feel threatened, to be honest. I don't know whether I'm safe as an elected member of parliament because of the things and the meetings we go. Honorable Kenan mentioned how my community works. The entire county is in Nairobi. It's expensive for us to maintain them. We don't sleep in our houses, Mr. Waziri. We are running from one place to another. At one point, if I take you to my house, more than 50 people are in the house because of the elected member. Mr. Waziri, I feel very, miserable that the people who elected me right now, who feel I can bring the elected MCA by just advocating and talking in parliament, that nothing can be heard, nothing can be done. Mr. Waziri, to be honest, I feel like we are in a failed state. When you take an elected member, he's a human being, he can do anything. Why do we have the courts? Why do we have the Constitution? You are a professor of law, Mr. Waziri. We are not happy from where we sit, even as a country, from Wajir, Mr. Waziri. Waziri, lastly, you said you initially started by condoning the extrajudicial killing and abductions. We want, when you say something, we mean it as a country. At the end of the day, the people we elected us are the people we work for. We will not support if they have done something wrong, Waziri. The entire Wajir country, from all the 6 constituencies today, are all out in demonstrating in the streets of Wajir, besides the government refusing to give them permit. We will not allow, Mr. Waziri. We will not allow our elected members to be disappearing. Then there's no need of us being elected in the first place. We rather stay home. We rather have a lawless country, Mr. Waziri. Okay. You are the Waziri I respect. I have a lot of regards for you. We want our honorable member back. We want our son back. We are not asking for much. He is in the hands of the security agencies. I don't know how to put more than that.
Thank you, Honorable Fatuma. I think you've been heard very well and clear. Vice Chair, Defense.
Thank you.
Henry, maybe try
Chairman, I left a meeting of defense, and we adjourned that meeting, so Waziri will not be meeting us. We are adjourned for another day. Waziri, I want to echo my colleagues, Honorable Kenan and Honorable Fatuma, on this matter. Really, it's a painful situation as it is. When we talk about the police, where say we are not aware of this MCA, then it comes to our mind: do we have a gang that can really abduct an elected leader for 16 days, and the police are not really aware? And Honorable Kenan actually mentioned that, look, we are supporting Haiti on matters of dealing with gangs. And yet here we have a leader that is being abducted and we don't know where it is. And from where I sit, I know what is happening is that he is under the security agencies. The only thing is that because you are a professor of law and 24 hours has passed, now the issue of saying how do we hold him for this number of days is also coming up. In my place, in my council quarters, Ramo, there was a demonstration because his siblings and his parents come from my place, even though they represent somewhere in Wajir. We are ready to forgive the security agencies for holding him for all this number of days. Please let him be released. It's unfortunate. when I looked at the statement yesterday and I contributed in the House and I said, this is a shallow statement just because you are not aware of the statement yourself. It didn't come through you. I look at the statements of the other responses. It's signed by Professor Kindiki. The other one, the one for the MCA Dela, is not signed by Professor Kindiki, and it's true you are not aware. That shows that we are not putting efforts about this MCA. Here we are talking about insecurity, cattle rustling, ABCD. We have a leader who is missing for 16 days. My plea is that let us release this MCA. Whether abducted by whoever, it doesn't matter. The Kenyan security agencies have capacity to find out where he is, whether by themselves or by other gangs. So my plea, I repeat, is that let us find where the MCA is. I know there's an issue of 24 hours has lapsed. We have held him for all this number of days. There's issue of all these things are coming up, I know. But what I'm trying to tell you is that he has been held. I've been in the security industry myself. I worked with Kanoraso. And we have done some operations even before. We know. Let them release this MCA. Later, they can decide to take him to court or so. It doesn't matter. But the family is at pains. So mine is just to input that comment, and please take it serious. Even as you say that you want to do a statement later, let the statement come later, release him. You know where he is. You can
Thank
confirm.
you. That is okay, Bashir. Lastly,
thank you, Chairman. I just want to be very brief, Waziri. In the last administration, two of my constituents are still missing. They were elders from Boran and Gabra communities. And their families are going through very painful experience. Coming from a security background, I personally feel the issues of abduction to enforce the law or extrajudicial killing will not help Kenya to maintain peace and harmony. It is a very weak system because it undermines intelligence, it undermines information. There are so many things it undermines. And I think the best thing to happen, if anybody is seen to be breaking the law, they must have their day in court. The intelligence system, investigative agencies must cobble together as much information as possible so that people like leaders, let them be arrested in a decent manner. But I think what is slowly happening, if in case this particular individual is being held by the security agencies, it's a very weak form of enforcing the law. And I think we, as administration under President Ruto, many of us who are in that administration and supporting it, I think we would not wish to go that route. Thank you, Chair.
Persons, poaching and ivory trade, organized crime like banditry and the rest, and drugs and so forth. Out of the police complement of 110,000, I speak from experience. We have some good officers in the service. However, I also speak with the same experience. We could have, and indeed we have, bad officers in the service. Otherwise, we cannot be talking about imperfections in our institutions. Among those that are involved in responding to serious existential threats to our country's security, 99% of them are extremely, extremely, extremely unlikely to misuse that power. And I'm speaking again from experience. I have been to every corner of this country, the most dangerous locations of our soil. I have been there. I have seen what they do, what they go through. I have seen young men, barely in their mid-50s, but very specially trained. They have lost life, they have lost limb as they fight terrorists and other sophisticated criminals, bandits, etc. So my thinking, and even as we handle this and a few other outstanding matters we have, remember the northern part of our country, we continue to work on the security there because for many years, for as long as Kenya has existed, we've had all these challenges. They have not started last year or this year. There were some foreigners also who were abducted in that general area of Marsabit. And we are on the trail. A bit complicated, a bit sensitive, but we are on the trail to also pursue, just as we are on the trail of this matter, because whether the person is arrested by whoever, first of all, if it is an arrest, the person will be presented to a court of law. That's what the law says. For terrorism and other sophisticated crimes, if you read the Prevention of Terrorism Act, there is a bit of leeway to allow special processing, which is from the Constitution itself, that has exceptions and derogations on certain automatic rights to deal with certain public security, public interest matters. That's why, for example, you see, like in the Shakahola suspects, we held that suspect without charging him for 1 year plus. You cannot do that for another suspect. Some other crimes, you cannot hold them even for more than 24 hours. You'll have problems with the court. So what we are saying, and this is my very humble request to you, Chair, and the committee, I would want to respond on this matter in a more comprehensive manner. Again, in the spirit of the urgency of the matter, I can submit to the committee what I require, the report, I mean the statement on where we are on this missing person whom we don't know. We don't know who took him. I know my brother here said that he knows, or I know who has this person. I don't. I'm a patriotic Kenyan. I love Kenya with the whole of my heart, and beyond this job, I will not be part of any scheme to harm an innocent Kenyan and present them to grave danger or even risk their lives. So I actually don't know who has these people, but whoever it is, whether criminal gangs, whether law enforcement agencies acting outside their mandates, we will get to the bottom of it. And therefore, in the same 24-hour cycle, as I submit the supplementary information, I'll also submit what I will have signed off as the status of this matter. And then, Chair, you can guide how you communicate that to the committee. And if the committee also requires me again back, I'll be more than happy to comply with a request to come back for a verbal interaction on that matter. I submit, and I'm very sorry for what has happened to the leader and the other cases that we are tracking of people just getting lost, and it should not happen. But please bear with us, we are trying our best. We just have an imperfect system, and many countries around the world, maybe not the same measure, but they still have some imperfections they are working on. And I want to assure Kenya I will not be the Minister for Kenya's security who will sit down and plan how the people of Kenya can get harmed by anybody. It is wrong, it is illegal, it is sacrilegious, and it undermines our democracy completely. We have no business sitting here if we could even countenance for a moment that someone who is innocent or someone who needs to be arrested and taken to court is being held somewhere for fun. Whatever that fun is, it is evil, it's unacceptable. So in 24 hours, I will sign off a statement which can go to the records. I request to withdraw the advance copy that was signed, and in 24 hours, I will send a signed copy which can be subject to further interrogation. I submit.
Thank you so much, Waziri. Of course, I'm convinced the members are satisfied with their response, and we look forward to a comprehensive response in 24 hours as you had committed together with the rest. So as we prepare to wind up, Mheshimiwa Ngelechei, I'm seeing Commissioner again, and Commissioner, what is it?
Chair, I wanted to talk about this issue of abduction, but it's gone. But now that we have been told that the minister will not be going to Senate, and for the mere fact that it has been difficult to get the minister, particularly to me, I would wish, Chair, through you, that we have a small session with the minister before he goes, with the committee.
I think that has to be off record.
Chair will guide, and I'm sorry for not being as available as I would have wanted, and thank you, Chair. You'll guide us. I was actually to appear before the National Assembly Committee on Defense on the Laikipia training, the Batuk issues. So I hope, Chair, you'll assist me to talk to your counterpart so that he doesn't think you advise. Thank you. But I hope you, okay, thank you very much. Of
course, they had written me a lot of SMSs.
Yeah, but it's this nature. In fact, what we do maybe in future, my suggestion, if you allow me, Chair, is we have maybe 3-4 hours when I appear here. We take maybe from as early as possible to lunchtime, so that we exhaust as much possible most of these things. In any case, I'm appearing before plenary next Wednesday. So again, that's another opportunity to ventilate on some of the issues through supplementary questions.
Thank you so much, but nevertheless, we really appreciate it. The accumulated backlog of statement and question will be attributed to the issue of dissolution of cabinet before. So it's well understood. So as we wind up, Honorable Ngelechei wanted something to do with the payment of NPR. So maybe what was it?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring to the attention of the CS that there is a problem in the remuneration of NPRs. There is some inconsistencies. Some OCPDs stay with their money for long, others accumulate for several months, others disrespect the Raya NPR and not even pay them. So kindly harmonize and ensure that at least there's something small they are getting gets to them. Thank you.
Effective next month, we have said no more cash payments. The money will be sent directly by M-Pesa to the police reservists.
Of course, you should have also challenged her and us that maybe moving forward in the issue of budget, we see a way of enhancing it at the same time.
When you see our requests, you know those requests has to secure your people. Please support us with the budget.
So thank you so much, members. Thank you, Waziri. We have to adjourn, is already one, and we really appreciate you had really helped us a great deal. We had too much backlog. Thank you.
Akiamua ni hapa, hata kama ikuta anapitia hapa.
And those who took advantage of that expression of democratic opinion to commit crime also and intended to access State House and take it over unconstitutionally. So that is the context in which I respond to this statement, Mr. Chair. In the process of those unprecedented demonstrations, acts of violence and extensive destruction of public property and private property, I have been asked to say how many people were arrested during that period. 1,208. Number two, I've been asked to state during those June, July riots, how many people lost their lives? 42. Thirdly, I have been asked to give an account of any unaccounted or unidentified bodies which could be in public mortuaries arising out of those unprecedented events of June and July 2024. 2. The number is 2. And finally, I have been asked to inform this committee, and by extension Parliament, how many people were reported missing during the June, July violent riots across the country. 132. And therefore, other than those statistics, the second part of that request for statement by the member for Ugenya was to, I think more or less I've answered everything, but I think there is one part there which says, actually I've answered everything. Part 1 to 4, I submit.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, Chair. Obviously, the statements is extremely underwhelming. Does not even attempt to answer all the questions asked. Honorable Chair, if you look at number 2 of the statement, first of all, in fact, it was a list of the names of those who lost their lives during the demonstrations across the country. The good Chair, good Waziri, has simply given us statistics. These statistics is not stones, they are human beings. If you know the number, ought surely to know the names of these people who lost their lives. Number 2, Honorable Speaker, it is again unfair for the minister to indicate the government has got no policy of abduction and false disappearances. It has been common knowledge because these 132 members who are missing, where are they? They can't just miss out, cannot just disappear in thin air, and yet this is a country of Kenya. We have extensive security network in this country. Where are these people and who are they? They must have been reported. Whoever reported must have indicated who their names are, their ID numbers, and any form of identification. It will do good for this country, Honorable Speaker, Chair, if the Cabinet Secretary could be forthright and give us information, because I'm sure this is not classified information. Those who have died have been buried. Those who are missing have been reported and they are in the OB. It's not, it's not state secret. Probably if he answers that, you'll allow me to answer to request further questions, Chair.
Anybody with a follow-up question to regarding the same? If none, we'll...
Honorable Chair, I, to some extent, agree with the member on the adequacy of that response, and you will notice, Honorable Chair, that yesterday I had, my office had forwarded a statement which we asked to amend by the current statement that we submitted this morning. And the reason for that adjustment is as follows, that as I have said, the number of those who died is 42. But that statement had identified up to 30 of the deceased. So what I asked the police to do, I think it was just like, because the information is there, it has always been there. These numbers and who died where, in what circumstances, the context in which they died, some by bullet, others by mob, etc. That information is there. So I discovered that the information given was up to case number 30. So I asked them to update the other 12, because death is a legal consequence. And therefore, what I will be pleading with this committee is to be given 24 hours. You already have the statement that has up to 30 of the deceased. The other 12 could be provided as supplementary information in 24 hours. As I have said many times, the government of Kenya has nothing to hide. If a Kenyan died, we cannot hide the fact that a Kenyan has died. What we need to do is to find out the circumstances under which the Kenyan died and ensure that if there is culpability or culpability by any person, including a security official or a law enforcement agency, justice is served, because the law does not allow death outside what is permitted.